All right, everybody, let's get started. Okay, so what is this for? I can't remember why we need to make this lecture up. It's either for the MT I went on, because I think we already made the one up for Choose Hub. So I think it's the one for the MT. And this is going to be, I'm going to try to make it like 25 minutes long. And then later, I'll make another one that's like 12 minutes long. And that will be about project number 3. And so we won't have to spend a lot of time in class talking about that. Let me just get stopwatch. Okay, so I will upload 2 handouts that you should use that will accompany this video. So you'll have to actually complete a few different activities while you watch this video. And the 2 handouts, one is called 22F Stipulating Conditions. It looks like this. And this is like the last grammar point or language focus. We're going to do this. That's an activity we're going to do in this video. There's also another handout, and it's 22F unless. And it's 2 activities, and it's focusing on the expression unless. So just so you know, you'll have to download these and have them accessible while you watch the video. So let us begin. All right, let's make up this lecture. Give me 1 second. I need some water. Okay, so let's get started. So we're going to talk about something called stipulating conditions. So basically it means it's a type of conditional, and as I'm sure everybody knows, the conditional is expressed using the word if. So in conversation 1 in the spring, we cover first and second conditionals. There are other words that you can combine with if to add extra meaning. So stipulate is a verb, and it means a condition must be true in order for something to happen. And oftentimes, as you can kind of see, terms and conditions, this right here, oftentimes you'll see terms and conditions when you buy a product, maybe like a phone, or when you sign up for a service like Netflix, or when you create a social media account on like Instagram or Twitter or TikTok or something like that. So terms and conditions means, if you want this, these things must be true if you want this product or service. So we're going to talk about stipulating conditions. But to begin, let me ask you a question. Would you lend me $20 if I told you I wouldn't pay you back? I said, hey, man, I'm really low on cash. Can I borrow $20? And you ask me, sure, but when are you going to pay me back? And I say, never. Are you going to pay me back? Or would you lend me the money? Probably not. Why wouldn't you lend me $20 if I said I wouldn't pay you back? In other words, what is the condition? What do you need to be true? Or what do you need from me? Maybe a promise that you need in order to lend me $20. Of course, you need me to promise, hey, I will pay you back. Of course, that is the condition. That is like the stipulating condition. So that needs to be true in order for you to lend me $20. All right. So the expressions that we're going to learn in practice are even if, only if, and unless. And these three expressions are used to say that a particular condition changes the outcome or should be ignored. So in the previous slide, me promising to pay you back changes the outcome. So it changes your decision whether or not to lend me $20. So if that condition isn't true, that changes your action, the outcome. So let's look at these three expressions. And once again, it's in the stipulating conditions handout. So these slides just follow along. Even if, I don't have the animation like I want it. Even if, we use even if to say what will happen, be done, or be true, regardless of the condition. In other words, this condition should be ignored. It doesn't matter. For example, I'll go to the concert even if I have to wait in line to get a ticket. I really want to go. So the condition is that. So I'll go to the concert even if I have to wait in line to get a ticket, because conditions always follow if. All right. So in this case, it doesn't matter if I have to wait in line to get a ticket. I will still go to the concert. Only if. This means to say what will happen when we talk about what will happen, be done, or be true, only under a specific condition. So this specific condition must be true for something to happen. So I'll eat there only if you have a coupon. Only if you have a coupon. Regular price is too expensive. So what is, let me get a different color. The condition, of course, follows if. So it does not look good. You have a coupon. So you having a coupon, that is the condition. I'll eat there only if you have a coupon. So that condition must be true for me to eat there, because regular price is just too expensive. Okay, and unless, I think, now, in my opinion, and I think you will agree, even if, only if, pretty clear, pretty easy to understand. Unless can get a little tricky. Unless is used to say what will happen, be done, or be true, only if something else does not happen, is not done, or is not true. The language, the wording of that sentence can be confusing, so we're going to look at examples to make it very clear. But here's an example sentence. I'll play basketball tomorrow unless it rains. So after unless, we will find the condition. It rains. Oops. I don't want to get wet. So I'll play basketball tomorrow unless it rains. So if it does not rain, if it does not happen, this will be true. If it doesn't happen, the confusing thing is it's not in the negative form, but unless means if it doesn't happen. So we will talk about that to make it much clearer if it's not already clear. All right, let us move on. Oh, get rid of that. Okay. Stipulating conditions. Okay, so If you take a look at this handout, there are 9 sentences, and each sentence has a blank. So read them and fill in the blank with either even if, unless, or only if. And take 4 minutes. And so I will come back in 4 minutes. Let's say, actually, about 4 minutes. So take 3 to 4 minutes and fill in the blanks. We'll come back, check the answers. 3 minutes. And I'm just going to stop my video and my audio so you can concentrate. I'm back. Okay, so let's go back to this slide. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's take a look at this first one. I will take this big shot of tequila. Blank, I can have a glass of cola to wash away the bad taste. Now it sounds like that condition must be true. So only if I can have a glass of cola. That's the only way I would take that. Okay, blank, you don't want to go to the movie. I'll go by myself. I really want to see it. So in this case, I will go to the movie by myself. This does not have to be true. Or I'm sorry, even it's hard to say. Even if you don't want to go to the movie. So it doesn't matter. Even if you don't want to go, I'll go by myself. I really want to see it. I'll meet you for dinner. Hmm, I have to work overtime, or else it'll be too late. I'll meet you for dinner unless I have to work overtime, or else it'll be too late. Too late means I can't. Too means inability. Okay. Blank, you text message me and say that you want me to pick you up something from the store. I won't buy you anything. Here, make sure unless. Now, only if. So that just logically doesn't make sense. Even if you can put it here, but it sounds like if I tell you, even if you text message me and say that you want me to pick you up something from the store, I won't buy you anything. Sounds like I'm angry at you and I'm unwilling to help you out. That's what it sounds like. Because even if you do that, I'm not going to, even if you ask me for the favor, I won't do it. So technically, sure, you can say even if, but it has that meaning of you're upset at somebody. Blank, your parents pressure you to become an accountant. You shouldn't if you don't want to. It's your life. Even if your parents pressure you, even if your parents put a lot of pressure on you, you should just do what you want. Okay, I'll go to the concert only if we don't sit way in the back like last time. Because last time I couldn't hear or see anything. So I didn't like it. It wasn't not a good experience. So I'll go to the concert only if we don't have to sit way in the back. 7. Blank, there's a safe place to lock up my bike in front of the stadium. I won't ride my bike to the game. I'll just walk there. Unless there's a safe place, I won't ride my bike. Now, only if logically doesn't make sense at all. Even if, once again, even if makes it could work. Even if there's a safe place to lock up my bike, I won't ride my bike to the game. I'll just walk. For example, if somebody feels like walking, they just they just don't feel like riding their bike. Even if or people who still don't trust bike thieves. Maybe people who think even if there's a safe place, I still don't trust people, so I won't ride my bike. So even if could work, but it has a couple like different feelings, or it conveys certain situations or feelings about the speaker. 8, I'll take a sip of that cocktail only if you take a sip first. It might be poison. And 9, there's no way I can go to Europe this vacation. I think both of these fit and actually are natural. And number 7, even if not as natural, not as common. But there's no way I can go to Europe this vacation unless, so it needs to go down for me to go. And even if, so maybe like I really don't have any money or I don't have time, I just can't do it. So even if the airfare goes down, there's no way I can go to Europe this vacation. Okay, so like I said, yes, time flies. Like I said, um, let's focus on unless, because unless can be the trickiest one. So here are 3 sentences. Now, of course, looking at this kid, he really does not like broccoli. So here are 3 sentences. Only one of them is correct. Unless you don't finish eating your broccoli, you can't have dessert. Number 2, unless you finish your broccoli, you can have dessert. And the last one, unless you finish your broccoli, you can't have dessert. Okay, so one way to think about this is, what does unless you mean? Unless you is the same as if you don't. So if we look at number one, if you don't, so you'd replace unless you with, hold on, let me try this. Oops. Draw text within. How do I use this thing? Yeah, so let's say, okay, so if we take unless you is the same as if you don't. If you don't, doesn't make sense. If you don't. Basically, that's a double negative. It means, and a double negative makes a positive. So basically, if you don't finish eating your broccoli, that means if you do. If you finish eating your broccoli, you can't have dessert. Doesn't make sense. Then why should I finish eating my broccoli? Okay, so number one doesn't work. So which one is correct? 2 or 3? Take 6 seconds. Replace unless you with if you don't. How about number 2? If you don't finish your broccoli, you can have dessert. I love you, Mom. That, of course, grammatically makes sense. I mean, it works, but these parents have some issues. So that just doesn't logically make sense. The last one, unless you, if you don't finish your broccoli, you can't have dessert. Boom. That makes sense. Because unless you, if you don't finish your broccoli, you can't have dessert. Unless you finish your broccoli, you can't have dessert. Same meaning as if you don't finish your broccoli, you can't have dessert. All right. So here are 3 sentences. In each sentence, there's an underlined phrase. What can you replace the underlined phrases with? Remember, unless verb is if not verb, or if verb negative. So the negative form of that verb. So take 30 seconds. Time for us. 30 seconds. Okay. Unless there is a safe place to lock up my bike. So if there is not, if there isn't a safe place, if there is not a safe place to lock up my bike in front of the stadium, I won't ride my bike to the game. I'll just walk there. Same exact meaning as unless there is. Same meaning. I'll meet you for dinner if I don't have to work overtime. I'll meet you for dinner if I don't have to work overtime, or else it'll be too late. Same meaning as unless I have to. There's no way I can go to Europe this vacation if the price of airfare, what's the negative of goes down? Does not go down. There's no way I can go to Europe this vacation if the price of airfare doesn't go down. Same meaning as unless the airfare goes down. Okay, so huh, that's weird. I gotta delete that slide. Okay, now more about unless. I'm just gonna review what you're supposed to do for homework here. So there's just two activities, short activities. They're both with unless. So I'm gonna go over page 1, then page 2. Okay, so more about unless. After unless, it's more natural to have a positive clause, basically a verb in the positive form, not the negative form. It doesn't matter if the verb itself is a negative verb like hate. It's not about the feeling of the verb. It's just the verb form itself should be in the positive form after unless. So we won't make it to the movie on time unless we take a taxi. So after unless, there's a verb take. It's in the positive form. When you start using the negative form of verbs after unless, it gets very, very confusing. Because, like we just said in the previous slide, unless means if verb not. So it ends up being like a double negative. So after unless, use a positive verb, a verb in the positive form. So we won't make it to the movie on time unless we take a taxi. What is the same meaning in if we replace this with an if clause? We won't make it to the movie on time if sorry, this unless should be gone. Oops, that's my fault. Okay. Let's get a good color this time. Red. All right. We won't make it to the movie on time if we don't take a taxi. So that's the same meaning as unless we take a taxi. Okay, so for homework, this is the first activity, completing sentences with unless. So what you want to do is complete, there's how many sentences? A handful. Complete the following handful of sentences with a natural action. Basically, the action will be something you can't do if the bold expression isn't true or doesn't happen. That's why we're using unless. So here's an example, blank. Unless you eat all of your vegetables, like you're talking to a child. So what action cannot happen if this isn't true? So blank if you don't eat all of your vegetables. An example, you can't have dessert unless you eat all of your vegetables. All right. So for activity 1, there's 6. Do these 6. Now let me quickly describe on page 2. Should take you on Adam. Summarizing dialogues using unless. In the following 3 dialogues, summarize them by completing the sentences. Use a verb in the positive form for the clauses after unless. So after unless, if there's a blank, use a verb in the positive form for the clause. Here's an example. Bob says, how about going out to eat tonight? Jenny says, I shouldn't. I don't have much money. She does have enough money, but not much money. So she says, I shouldn't. But if you pay, I will go. In other words, imagine there's a blank here. In other words, Jenny won't go out to eat tonight unless Bob pays. So if you reworded that using an if clause, Jenny won't go out to eat tonight if Bob doesn't pay. Boom. Okay, so do those 3 dialogues. And for homework, upload all of the activities you did while watching this video. So that means the unless, the 2 that we didn't cover or show the answers to, plus might as well just upload the one that we did talk. I did show you the answers for, the one with the 9 blanks. And have a great day. I will see you Friday. Have a great evening and a great couple of days. See ya.